So in my last video, I made a little bit of a bold claim of using the excess fabrics and trims and so on. So let's just give a typical example. A typical example is that this was 2 yards of fabric that I had bought to make a viscose linen kameez. From the 2 yards of fabric, what we've done is, if I give you a typical example of a 2 yards of fabric, would be that when you get your average 60-inch wide fabric, what you're getting is, and I'm sure any machinist would be quite familiar with this, is that you have the fabric 60-inch wide fabric, and generally is supplied in 2 yards or 2 meters. So what you have is, you would make this into the kameez, and double folded you would get the kameez out of this. Now when you go on to cut the sleeves, you will cut the sleeves, and so what the leftover fabric that we have is about 3/4 of a yard. Out of the 3/4 of the yard, you're folding this fabric like this and you're cutting the sleeves. Then what you're getting left over is this piece of fabric and a little bit from, because the sleeves are not 3/4 length, a full 3/4 of a yard, you would get perhaps about 4 inches, maybe 5 inches left over, and the piece that gets left over typically looks like this. So what I've done is I've cut the kameez. This is where I've cut the sleeves out from, and this piece of fabric is the leftover from the 2 meters of fabric. Now how would I go about using this or utilizing this? So first of all, this is enough for a trim to actually do a full suit, typically a suit like the one that I'm wearing. So we've got this fabric which we want to trim away. And make sure when you're cutting that you are very, very precise with, and you don't get so depending on how big you want the trim, I would cut this 6 inches, perhaps just a little bit more than 6 inches. 6 inches is fine. So that this is a 6-inch piece. For a standard kameez, this is fine. If you have like a kameez like mine, which is like a more of like a frock type, you need a little bit more. So what we're going to do is, I've got enough of this left over that I'm going to actually extend this, and that all this piece, I'm going to attach it together, join this up, press it, and also use an additional color in a chiffony fabric to underline this in, and that would be the trim for the hem. For the neck, I'm going to decide on the type of neckline I'm going to be making. So like if I was making a neckline like the one I have on my pastel shade color, and find my interfacing. This is fusible lightweight interfacing, and it's on this interfacing that we're going to design our neckline. So whatever shape that you want and the length that you want, we're going to cut this into that. So this then we need to iron on to we're going to fuse this together onto this and cut around the neckline. So before we cut into this, we need to press it and then cut it slightly bigger than what this is. Turn it towards the inside, and then we're going to directly attach that onto the dress. And then we've got this part which we can actually use on any other sleeves or anywhere else that's required. So that's a very simple way of making the trim. What you can do is whatever laces or whatever combinations you want to add to this, you can, and then whatever base of the color that you want to use that on. This can be used on a blue, it could be used on a pink, it could be used on an off-white. Any of the colors would suit it absolutely beautifully. So if I give you an example of that, this is a pink, and if I was to use it on the pink, then that's how it looks on the pink. Let's give you a closer up. And the way this would be combined is really, you know, it's the lace or whatever to blend the two in. So you've got something like that, overcast it with the lace. Obviously this is not the exact right color, but as a typical example, that's what you do. You blend the two in, just as I have with the two colors, the two pastel shades. This one, perhaps not on the pink, but perhaps on the off-white or the blue, it would look absolutely stunning. And it's a very easy way of jazzing simple plain fabrics and making them into looking like beautiful designer suits.